Hi, I'm Gina.
Hi, I'm Todd Hollowell.
So we've been coming to Christian Hill since it was actually a new song back in 1999.
My anxiety really started when around 11 years old when we moved up here from Louisiana. It was just a huge move for me as a kid. It was just totally different. I couldn't understand people. The accents were so different. I had a tough time in school. I developed a social anxiety, which just stuck with me throughout high school. And it kind of got worse just after graduating, and just something I always battled. The anxiety is like a prison. You're like in a prison cell, and you just, you see the world going on around you. You want to be involved, right? Like an hour of social activity would knock me out for the day. I'd go home and just sleep, and I'd really have to prepare myself for that.
Yeah.
And that was something I had to work through with therapy, and just I think faith really has a lot to do with that, and leaning on God more than just medication or other things. You have to just let go sometimes. And I was trying too hard to control everything.
So Todd and I actually met in 1994 in high school, and we started dating in 95.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me sitting down to talk to you, we would have never been together.
That's a good point. I was playing football at the time, and I had sprained my ankle, and I was going to the nurse's office just to get out of a class and just rest my ankle. And she was working in the nurse's office, so she ended up just plopping next to me. And
I thought he was cute.
She had a clipboard, and she's like,
"Why are you here?
I need you to fill this out, and why are you here?" And that's where it started.
And we started dating in 95.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, you asked me to marry you, but we got married in 2000.
Yep.
Yeah, we saved up, we bought a house.
And around 2006, I ended up getting hurt, and I had to stop working. I was in a work injury where I ended up hurting my hand, and ended up being diagnosed with CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome. It's just a nerve disease. Constantly in pain, 24/7. Nothing really they can do for it. And at first it was just a sprain.
Yeah,
it was like nothing, and we didn't think it was going to be anything. And then it just kept getting worse and worse from there. So when you don't use your hand and you have pain like that, and how sensitive it was, your hand will just automatically start to turn into what they say like a claw. So it just really shrinks up, and it looks like a claw, and you can't move it. Your hand's frozen in that spot, and it's just so painful.
Yeah, that was a tough time. You were pretty much bedridden for like 6 years.
Yep.
That was,
on a lot of medication. For a long time, there was no way out either. This was just how it was going to be, and it was just going to get worse towards the end. Like, there was no good outcome to look forward to, or
the path was very, very
it was
depressing.
just, the doctors just said it was just going to get worse from here on out. Like, there was really not much hope.
Yeah.
It's definitely a punch to the stomach in a way. Like, you don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you're providing. You don't feel like you're doing what's necessary for your family. Creating a family, whatever it was, our lives were put on hold for so many years just because of that.
It was very difficult. So I was still working full time. I was doing about 60 hours a week, and it was very stressful.
And you were working at home taking care of me.
And I was taking care of you, going back to work. I would come home at lunch every day, and he would try to do stuff in the house, the poor thing. I felt so bad, and I sometimes actually would find him just blacked out, like face first on the stairs. And that's around that time that I needed to be there with him, and I started having a really difficult time with work. And I ended up almost having a complete nervous breakdown in 2010, and I had to leave work, and like I had to go to my doctor, and I was in therapy. I mean, it was very, very difficult, and I couldn't see him trying to do things in the house being in so much pain, and like what it was causing him to be in that much pain. And so I stopped work, and
that time really helped both of us, I think, because with both of us going to therapy together, you were able to help me. We were able to exercise together, help me get into therapy, and it kind of started the process of just coming back to what we had.
Yeah. trying to get you up.
Yeah,
trying to get you
basically.
out of your chair.
Yeah, out of my chair.
Yeah.
My right arm, I was just using it for everything, because I couldn't use my left arm at all. I was having problems with just pain in my elbow. I couldn't hold a cup. I couldn't do anything. After 3 years of just dealing with it, we finally went to the doctor. They did an MRI, and they said, I had some tears, and I should do surgery on it. For someone who has CRPS, surgery is like a
Very
whole nother, very scary, because the chances of it spreading to that part where you're having the trauma done is very high. I had no choice but to do the surgery, because at this point I would have no arms.
Couldn't
I could barely hold a fork, so it was humbling, to say the least.
Yeah. And that was scary. I was back to work at the time.
Yep.
So it was like it was almost happening all over again, that you didn't have your other arm, and it was very stressful.
And we didn't know if it was going to spread into this arm, and then it would be in both arms, then what? And I felt worthless. And I felt like I could do nothing.
Yeah.
And my outlook on life was very scary, because, we had to trust God that He was going to get us through that, and it would work out. That was a miracle in itself.
Yeah. Just to have both arms now?
Yeah, and now to have both arms, it's a miracle, to say the least.
I started coming back to church in 2009.
Yeah.
I actually came back with my mom. You were still so
I wasn't
in so much pain that you couldn't
even involved in much at that point.
I was out of work, and I was coming to church at the time. I actually was in a small group, and somebody in the small group suggested that I participate in the church a little more, and they suggested that I help in the children's ministry. We were trying to have a kid at that time, and so I'm like, sure, so I went down, and I actually loved serving downstairs. It was a lot of fun, and I did that for a lot of years. So around 2016 is when we went to the doctor, and we actually found out we could not have kids. So that was extremely painful for us. That was like another punch in the gut, like you said before. So that was very, very difficult for us to deal with and accept. I still served in the ministry for a while downstairs. You ended up coming and serving with me.
Yep.
At that same time, it was also difficult because we could hear the worship music upstairs, and you could not go in the sanctuary. I couldn't even go up in the sanctuary. Because the pain was so...
From the bass and the drums and everything, I could just feel it. He couldn't even
step foot up there. Yeah. So it was like, we wanted to be up there so bad. We were serving in the ministry, and it was also getting more painful because we couldn't have kids, and then at this point, the ministry was actually... very difficult.
Felt like it was hurting us.
It was hurting us
in some ways more than.
So,
but it felt good being back in the church and involved in the church. So it was a real weird tug of war, kind of like just.
Yeah. So,
God wants us here, but certain things are causing us pain. How do we deal with that?
It was a little before 2020 that I decided to take a break from the ministry downstairs, and. Yeah. I started just going into the service without you.
Yep.
Sometimes you would come after worship, just to be in to hear the sermons. And
because at that time I was doing the men's group.
Yes.
And then sometimes I'd just go home after, or if I could, I'd stay. Having the connection with other men, that was something that was really foreign to me, and I think it is with a lot of guys, where you actually have a room of guys that come in and they leave their attitudes and everything at the door, and we just come in and we're brothers, and we can just really talk to each other, go through scripture, and just really identify with each other what's going on in the world, in life, and come beside each other, help each other. It just really meant a lot at that point in my life, being able to talk with other men like that. Someone who is a huge just inspiration was Bob Messier. He used to tell me I was an inspiration to him, and I would just laugh and nod my head because I couldn't believe it. If anyone, he was the inspiration to me. He taught me so much in the men's group, having that small group with him at his house.
That's amazing.
He really kind of just took me under his wing, and he always showed me support, always answered me with the truth, with scripture, always went to scripture, He was just such a good friend.
Vertical.
Yeah, yeah. Always vertical, not horizontal. Always putting God first. He really helped me kind of just want to serve in the church and be part of that church family.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was huge. We would come for church and leave. It was just we weren't part of the family. We weren't part of the church. We were just going to church to get what we needed out of it and leaving. I didn't want anything to do with people because of my anxiety. Right. And I ended up meeting with Bruce Rains, and he took the time to have coffee with me, and I talked to him for like an hour. And after that, I was just like, we need the church. We talked about it, and we're like, I think we need to decide either we're all in or we're gonna find somewhere else or do something else, or we can't stay on the fence anymore. We have to really just, if we're gonna do it, be all in, and that's
life-changing.
Yeah, that's when we really decided to
absolutely life-changing.
Changed everything and really gave us the strength to gave me the strength anyway to move forward. But once we decided to be all in, we're like, okay, this is a family, this is our church, we have to try to be involved.
And then miracles just started happening.
Just with the anxiety and me going through that and being able to grow after accomplishing certain things. You grow and it's not so bad anymore, it's not so bad, you start getting stronger. And next thing you know, you're playing a guitar on stage and it's not bothering you. That's, I think, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Goodness, I started playing guitar when I was 18. I bought my first guitar and just loved it. Obviously, when I got hurt, I had to stop playing. I thought that was done. I would still pick it up here and there, but...
that was very sad.
Yeah, it was mostly sad, and it would just make me angry. But I got to the point where we was doing the desensitization therapy, and I was using my hand. I thought, what a better tool to use than my guitar, and to just practice scales and chords, and getting my hand used to the pain of holding the chord down and the burning, and eventually it just... you get used to it, and over time, and my hand would loosen up from just being stone atrophied to actually being able to use my hand.
It was amazing watching that transition.
Even though I was still having pain, my hand was transitioning from the atrophy. At the time, I was playing more guitar, and I was able to play chords. I was... we
were playing together.
Yeah,
right?
we were actually... Gina plays the bass, and we were playing together, and we were going to the MTN with Pastor Chuck over downstairs, and in our group was Morgan and Donna, and we were telling them that I was playing guitar, and Donna said that her husband Larry plays in the band, and I should talk to him about it.
Because they were down someone, because Eddie was at college.
Right,
so.
And Morgan was very... enthusiastic about it.
Yes, very.
I love the guy, so...
And then we talked about it, we went home, and Todd was very scared.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I know Steph, let's go talk to Steph.
At first I was like, no, but it was always something because I grew up in the church, so it would have been really cool, and it's something I wanted, but with my fears, it was just holding me back, and I couldn't do it. But I think the thought of it stuck with me. I'm like, wow, that'd be really cool. And I could just feel a draw to it.
With you doing the therapy with your hand and that God giving you that back.
Yeah.
That you wanted to give back to God.
It was a way to serve.
And a way to serve.
Yeah, and what a better way to serve through music, because I love it so much.
You got the courage to come and talk to Steph. And
I think it took us a couple weeks.
It was a few weeks.
I think on the third week.
Every week we were like, okay, Todd, you want to do it this week? He's like, let's wait another week.
There was a crowd of people around you, and I was just like, yeah, that's not a good idea.
That's like your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Even that day, I mean, what's amazing is knowing you from when I was in the children's ministry, at least I knew you, and I was like, Todd, I know who Steph is, it's okay, we can talk to her. And I remember that day you had somebody else talking to you first. I'm not sure, I don't remember who it was, but we were sitting back and it was taking a few minutes, and Todd's like, he's like,
I'm ready to leave.
I'm like, no, hang on, it'll be okay.
I was just like, I just felt a calling. I really did. And I'm like, I'm going to try to do this.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, so be it. You know, what's the big deal?
Yeah. So
And, yeah.
got the courage, and we asked Steph if, you know, they needed someone, and
Yeah. Kind of took off from there.
yeah.
I think the hardest thing was getting over that first step and just talking with you guys and meeting with, it was a bunch of, you know, it was just tons of little steps and just like doors I had to go through. There was all like, just, it's hard to explain all the different things between the anxiety, between my hand and dealing with the pain. Joining the team, I had to kind of just put my anxiety behind me and put that second and put the team first, kind of, and just whatever the team needed, whether it was carrying wires or, you know, doing whatever it was in front of the audience, whatever, it didn't matter. I was part of the team and I had a purpose. And I think that really just pushed me through it, through that fear. And just like with the guitar, I was at a point when I started, but I needed to really get better to be able to play on the stage. And it took a while. It took a lot of practice working with Larry. But after a while, after practicing and practicing, you start building strength. You start really building confidence. And just, again, breaking through more barriers, opening more doors throughout the process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so-
it's really just changed my life completely. I mean, I like I said, I feel like I have purpose now. I'm serving in the church, which is just amazing. On the worship team, the friends and the people on the team are just so amazing. It's
such a family.
It's a family.
You know,
it
we
really
just
is.
feel part of
And
such a family.
a couple of years ago, my parents moving to North Carolina, it really left us feeling alone. The only relatives really have are your mom and your dad, and with us not having kids,
Yeah.
just it was very.
It was very painful
So-
for you with your parents leaving,
Yes.
and just me and my parents being here. You felt
Just alone,
Just
just
alone.
really. And then being able to join the church, join the team, and really have that connection with people and not feel so alone.
we talked about the timing with God,
Yeah.
with you getting a family, you know, with the church and with the worship team.
Yeah,
It's just,
it really,
it was just amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, when you decided to want to join the worship team, then I felt like I could serve again.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wanted to be involved. So I texted Steph and David John and asked if there was something that I could do.
Yeah.
So I'm part of the video team now, which is awesome.
This has been great.
Yeah.
It's great that we can serve together again, too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For 6 years I just laid in bed, drugged up, in pain, couldn't move, and I had given up.
Yep.
You know, and it was like that, like, what do you have for me next, God? He waited for me to make the first, like, I had to
You
get
had to
up
make the first move.
and start walking again. I had to start doing things again, and just trying, I think, made the biggest effort, just to try to move forward and never give up.
You always had that motto.
Yeah.
You know, if you go back and talk to yourself, you know, back then.
Yeah,
just
I would have
never
said
give
get up sooner and don't give up. You're, wasting time. Life's
Yeah.
too precious, because when we're older and we're looking back, there's so many things we're going to regret that we didn't do. And there's so much I regret I didn't do already. I don't want any more regrets. And I know if I didn't start changing my life, I would have a lot of regrets.
Yeah. I would tell myself that God has control, that God is in control of everything, and that I need to allow Him to have control and not try to take that control on for myself, because that's what caused me to have my breakdown. Because I couldn't.
Yeah, you're
I
not
couldn't
strong
do it.
enough to-
I'm not strong enough, and God always is.
Put your trust in God, that He has a plan for you, no matter how bleak it looks, no matter how stuck you are in that situation or whatever it is in your life. Don't give up. Give it to Him. Pray about it. And have faith and count on His timing, not yours.
Yeah.
And I know it seems hard. Sometimes it takes years for things to happen, but it's His timing. It's always His timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, especially that we're together for 27 years now, and for so long we used to question why God wouldn't let us be able to have a baby together and create life from both of us who love each other so much, and it just used to really hurt.
Yeah, that was always a question we were going to ask God.
Yeah, that was our one question we were going to ask God when we got to heaven, was just...
So you say was.
Yeah.
So God just doesn't stop creating miracles. So we found out a couple weeks ago that we are expecting.
We're going to have a baby.
Having our first child coming,
Yeah.
it's just mind-blowing.
Still in shock a little, but it's very exciting, and just another part of the journey,
Yeah.
you know? Just a lot of blessings.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we tried to have a kid probably for about 10 years until, like, even after we were told we couldn't, we were still very, like, adamant, like...
We're like, if God could do it,
Yeah.
so why not still?
And Todd was always like, he can, and I would always say, it's not possible. Like, the older I get, I'm like, it's just
Yeah.
not going to happen. So I actually have an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's, and it could cause me to go into menopause early. So I just thought that we were done, like, you know, being able to have kids.
Yeah, you're
And,
43, I'm 44.
yeah. I was starting to think that I was getting symptoms of menopause, and I was just like, oh, we were done. And then Todd would joke and be like, oh, maybe you're pregnant. And I'm like, I'm not, Sarah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little on the older side. I don't think I'm going to get pregnant at almost 44.
Right.
And so, like you said, God's a comedian.
Yes. Yes.
So Todd's like, just take a test. And I'm like, fine, I'll just take a test. I'm like, it's not going to be, but okay. And then I took a test, and then I took another one. And then I sent Todd to the pharmacy, and then I took 2 more.
Yeah. After 4 tests.
After 4 tests, I still didn't believe it. And then went to the doctors. And
Sure enough.
yeah.
Wow.
That was good.
Yeah, that's cool.